Alright guys, welcome back to Ox Tools. I'm Tom. So we're going to do some A-bomb style heavy machining here in this next couple of episodes. These are the bearing blocks for the large etching press. So these get bored and they get a bunch of machine work done to them. And so we're going to start a couple video series of us working on this. So there'll be some cool 4-jaw work with some counterbalancing and some slitting saw action and a few other things. So these are 1.5 inch thick steel plates, so we ought to be able to have some fun. And what I'm going to do is, first off, I'm going to stick these together. I'm just going to do a little weld in a few places here to hold them together as a unit, since a lot of the machining, at least the bore, at least for the bore, there's a large bearing that goes through here, so we want the bores real nice. So I'll reset the camera and let's get cracking. Okay, so I've got these kind of registered now. You know, I just averaged out, you know, these are flame cut plates, so I'm averaging them out so that the curves match up kind of the best all the way around. We're going to machine these surfaces. All these flat surfaces are going to get machined. So the curves I'll just probably detail with a sander, so I'm not going to machine those. So I don't want a lot of excess to grind off of there. Now these don't end up next to each other in the machine, so you know, if there's minor variations, it's not really going to be a big deal. So let's start by clamping these together. Just using a couple of Armstrong forged C-clamps here. These are 4-inch C-clamps. This is a really good size around the fab shop. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to put a little bit of weld right in here and a little bit of weld down here and then the other side. And then that'll get cut away later on, and these plates get surfaced so that whatever's left from that little bit of weld will get machined off. So bores feel pretty good. Okay, alright, let's get the welder going and we'll weld those up. Okay, so we're just going to put a little weld in there. This is E70 S6 TIG filler. We're just going to put a little TIG bead in there to keep the weld small. I don't need much weld to hold these together for the machining, so we'll just go ahead and do that. And it's going to get a tack and on each surface here, and then I'll go back and put a little more weld in second go around there. So you notice I sanded off the cutting dross there too. And that just makes for a nicer weld. You don't really want to weld over plasma or you know, oxy fuel dross. It's not good practice in welding. So let's that one. I'll try not to hit the camera this time. Oop, I might have a little bit there. Let's see if we get the sparkle show. That's not lining up very good, is it? Look at the other side there. Well, I don't know. Not as good as it's going to get. Okay, I'm going for it. It's kind of an average lineup, but kind of heavy now. So the first thing we're going to do is, you know, flatten off some of these surfaces so we have some good datums to locate the hole accurately. It's not super important that they're located exactly the same, but you know, hey, if you have a chance to do a nice job, go for it, right? I mean, it's not that much more work, and I have to machine these anyway. So the other side of that is I get to show you guys some locating techniques that we haven't really talked about. So, oh, you know, I so rarely use this handle that I forgot where it was. Okay, so we're gonna use this Glacern face mill here that my buddy Les Foster gave me. Les is he's an airline pilot, and he has a machine shop in Canada, and he visited here on the open house. Anyway, he gave me this tool, and actually it works really good. So we're gonna mow this off and do these surfaces with this thing and give it a go. Yeah, inserts feel good, so I think we're in bees nas. Okay, so what do I want to do here? Better get the drawing before I pull a bozo here. Let me take a look at that. Guideline there. Let's try 50 thousandths. Pretty good. Blue chips coming off. That's pretty good. Let's try another one. Go down to 100. This will cut all the way over to here now, so gets in the cut, it quiets right down, so it's kind of nice. This is going to make a mess. Yeah, listen to that. That's pretty quiet. Those are ISCAR inserts in there. Can't remember the designation. Oh yeah, that's nice. Little burr. Chips look pretty good. All right. Well, let me. I'm going to mill this, and then we'll flip it around and do the other side. Then we'll do the ends. So if you leave a little hanging over off outside the vise, then you can get something on it to get a measurement. That way you're just makes it simpler. So when you flip something, think about how you're going to measure it too. Okay, so let me go to that. So this should just be 27 thousandths. Number 26. Okay, should be the finish cut. Oh, wrong way there, Mr. Wizard. All right, call that good. Okie dokie. Now we're going to go back on the welding bench and we're going to put a little temporary cross piece in here so that we can locate an accurate center in relation to these sides that we've established. So I'm going to pull this out, drag it over to the welding bench, and we'll tack weld this little piece on here and do some layout. And you get to see that old school technique. Okay, here's this a little temporary crossbar, and I've got some little layout marks here that I was working off of to get the hole basically centered on the sides. Okay, so we've established flats. Now we want to accurately locate the hole that we're going to put in for the bearing. So I'm just going to put this eyeball line up on my scribe marks, and you'll see how this all works in a sec. That's not where it goes. So basically what I'm going to do is just tack weld this down after I get it lined up here. Okay. And this is going to pop off later on after we've indicated it in the lathe. So let's get a tack weld on that. Little one on there. That's probably strong enough for what we're going to do, but I'm just going to put a shade more on there. A drop of filler, I think. Okay. I want something that's going to be easy to break later on. Now we're going to go over to the surface plate and we're going to do a little layout, and then we're going to use a Toolmakers button, so you'll see that in a sec. Alright, so what we're going to do is just scribe some layout lines on this, and what we want is a center between these two, which, let's see, it's 7 1/8, 3, 563. Alright, see, yeah, it looks like it agrees. I'm just going to put a little scribe line on there like that, okay? And then, very carefully pull this over like so. And then I'm going to come up from the bottom, and my number is 4 1/16. That. Okay, and so it doesn't really matter where it lands in this bar here, and in fact visually it's a little bit off center of the bar, but this doesn't matter for what we're doing here. So what I'm going to do is I'll drill and tap a hole there, and then we'll mount our Toolmakers button accurately referencing our datum sides. So and that will put the hole that we're going to bore in the exact position that we wanted in relation to those sides. So let's go drill and tap that little monkey. Okay, here's our little layout line here, and then I'm just going to pick this up with a little point. You guys have seen me use these before. I make these out of broken end mills and center drills and stuff. This is a carbide end mill that broke off. These little 1/8 inch shank jobs that always seem to break easy depending on what you're doing. Now this thing's got enough weight here. I don't need to hold it down. I'm just going to drill and tap a 540 hole in this, which is actually pretty small. All right, that looks pretty tasty right there. All right, so let me get a drill and a tap, and we'll get that done. All right, not often you get to tap a 540 hole, but you'll see why in a minute here when we get the Toolmakers button out. put a little, you know what? No, I don't want to do that. I was going to put a little chamfer on it, but the one weird thing is those single flute countersinks, they tend to pull things off center a little bit. So I'm just going to hand tap this little guy. I'm just putting a little pressure on the feed handle and just turning it in by hand. Okay, we're through. Now's the time not to move it, right? Okay, and if we're good, okay, good. All right, so now this is the fun part actually. So we'll go back over to the surface plate and mount our Toolmakers button and get it lined up accurately. So, cool.